I once dreamed of having the perfect mate, but reality has turned into a nightmare. Chapter 36. Don't do it, little one. You've teased me enough today, Apollo growled, his authoritative tone laced with affection. The king can't handle some teasing. I gasped, my playful nature shining through. Apollo's eyes narrowed, his easy provocation evident. You're going to be in so much trouble. Whatever. I flipped my hair back, my sarcastic side coming out. That's it. Apollo lunged for me, his affectionate side taking over. I suppose I should backtrack a few hours to this morning. Waking up felt amazing. My whole body felt so much better, as if a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. The royal chambers seemed to glow with a newfound warmth. Apollo buried his face into my hair and breathed in my scent, his protective instincts on full display. I don't want to get up, Apollo mumbled, his kingly demeanor momentarily forgotten. Neither do I, but my parents are here. I want to spend some time with them before they go. Reluctantly, I detangled myself from Apollo's warmth and headed to the bathroom to get ready, my heart already longing for more family time. When I headed downstairs to the grand dining hall, my parents and family were already sitting there and chatting. Damien, Beckett, and Miles were also there, adding to the lively atmosphere. Morning. I made my presence known, my voice carrying the authority of a queen. Morning. Did you sleep well? Miles asked, a teasing glint in his eyes that matched my own playful nature. Better than you. Clearly. Maybe next time you should actually sleep. I joked, falling easily into our familiar banter. Miles rolled his eyes, while Beckett and Damien laughed, the camaraderie evident. I'm going to pretend I never heard that. Dev mumbled, his protective brother instinct kicking in. Love ya, big bro. I laughed, my affection for my family shining through. Darling, we're heading back after breakfast. Mom smiled sadly, her caring nature evident in her expression. What? Why not after lunch? I asked, my disappointment clear. Oh honey, we need to get back. Your father and brother have responsibilities that they can't ignore. Mom came over to give me a hug, her understanding nature comforting me. I sighed. I wish you could stay longer. Next time, Mom promised, her words filled with warmth. You need to pay a visit next. Dad teased, his sarcastic humor shining through. Oh hush, she's the queen, much more responsibility than us. Mom replied, ever the voice of reason. Dad's just messing. Mom, I smiled, appreciating the familiar family dynamic. Just because you're the queen doesn't mean you can't come to visit. Dev chipped in, his sarcasm matching our father's. I can't wait for you to leave. I stuck my tongue out, falling back into our sibling rivalry. Wow, Laxmi, so mature. Dev rolled his eyes, his protective nature barely hidden beneath the sarcasm. Ah, the joys of having my kids back together. Dad's sarcasm caused the Lycans to laugh, the room filled with mirth. Arya sat there, sipping her coffee, her observant eyes full of laughter as she quietly took in the family scene. What did I miss? Apollo came down the stairs, his hair still wet from the shower, exuding the confidence of a king. How badly I wanted to run my hands through his hair. Damn it. I bet he did that on purpose. He knows I love his hair. My affectionate thoughts were momentarily interrupted by Damien's voice. Just regular sibling drama. Damien laughed, his observant nature summing up thickly. Apollo, ever protective of Laxmi, approached and asked, are you teasing your brother? Little one. Of course HED asked that. Probably trying to get revenge from yesterday. Dev, with his typical playful demeanor, looked smug. See, even your mate knows what a handful you are. I placed my hands on my hips, my quick wit coming to the fore. You want me to start exposing your secrets? Dev's smug look dropped, replaced by horror. You wouldn't. Try me. I fired back, my assertiveness shining through. Dad took a sip from his coffee before replying. Dev, you're a grown-ass man. Stop teasing your sister. You know she'll embarrass you. Daddy's little princess. Dev mumbled into his cup of coffee. Arya, supportive as always, patted his back but looked at me, laughing. I decided not to say anything else, not wanting to risk Mom telling me off. We all know that moms do not hold back either. You know you're my mate. You're meant to be on my side. I glared at Apollo, shrugging his hand off my shoulder and going to sit next to my parents, feeling the familiar pang of missing them. Damien, offering his usual commentary, shook his head at Apollo. Oh, brother, never piss off your mate. I'm sure that is basic knowledge. Apollo didn't seem fazed. Instead, he had that wicked glint in his eyes, a rare display of emotion for him. I pretended to ignore Apollo as I ate breakfast with my family. Luna came down yawning. Clearly had a late night, and the boys didn't miss the opportunity to tease Miles. Luna sat down next to me and downed a cup of coffee. Someone had a long night. I tried but failed to hold in my laughter. Luna weakly glared at me, which caused me to laugh more, our friendship evident in the playful exchange. I think that's our cue to leave, Dev said, standing up. Already. I cowed and helped the sadness in my voice, my protective nature extending to my family. Oh, darling, we would stay longer if we could, but your brother is right. We should head off. Mom sighed. Yeah, I guess so. My happy mood disappeared. I didn't realize how much I missed my family until they had to leave again. After giving my family long hugs and promising them I'd come home, I watched the car leave. Apollo tried to hold my hand, but I shrugged him off, going to Luna instead, seeking comfort from my friend. It's okay to be sad. Luna comforted me, her supportive nature shining through. I miss them already. I sighed. Apollo, sensing my distress, held my hand and pulled me into his embrace. I breathed in his addictive scent and buried my face in his chest. Guess I cowed and stayed mad at him for long. Little one, I know this may not be the right time, but you should know. Bradley is dead, Apollo said, his voice devoid of outward emotion, but I knew he was hurting inside. I looked up at Apollo, my brave facade in place. Good. He won't be causing any more trouble for us. Apollo just nodded, bringing me back into his warm embrace. A voice broke our embrace. Eleanor. I looked up and down for any signs that Bradley hurt her, my protective instinct kicking in. Am already healed, she said. I walked over to her, and she pulled me in for a hug. Oh God, I can't tell you how worried I was. My voice broke, and tears threatened to fall. Yeah, well, evil witch, well, am angry with you, she replied, her concern for my safety evident. What, why? I asked, confused. Because, Laxmi, you were going to give yourself up for me. How stupid can you be? Eleanor shook her head. I told her not to. Apollo chipped in, his protective nature coming to the fore. You can be angry at me. I don't care. There was no other option. And I am the queen. Surely my decision shouldn't be questioned. The anger built up inside of me, my assertiveness taking over. Eleanor suddenly backed down, while the others looked at me, worried. Apollo stepped closer to me, ready to offer support if needed. Calm down. The anger disappeared, and I sighed. You know what? It's been a long few days. Whatever has happened is done. This novel will be daily updated and we can't change the past, so why talk about it? I looked around at everyone. You're right. No more talking about it. Luna agreed. I actually need to go into town. Come on, Miles. Luna dragged Miles. They'll join. Get out of the palace. Damien said. They'll come too. I chipped in. Nope, nope. You're busy today, Apollo replied. What? I looked at him. confused. Just picked me up and threw me over his shoulder. Seriously, put me down. I growled. Oh, we have fun. Guys. My mate and I need to have a long conversation. I could hear the smirk in his voice. I heard the laughter of everyone while Apollo carried me back to our room. You, I said, grumbling. That mouth of yours. Apollo tut D before smacking my ass. In the ass. Don't do that. I gasped. Why is it turning you on? He asked. I scoffed. No, just don't do it. Lies. Of course it was. Apollo would have known that anyway. Apollo dumped me on the bed, but I didn't give him the chance to do anything. I jumped up, the adrenaline pumping through my body. Apollo smirked at me. His tongue ran over his lips. I wanted to kiss them so badly. Want me to chase you? I walked over to Apollo and left small kisses on his face, never kissing his lips. Apollo groaned, his arms tight and around my waist. No, I want you to catch me, I whispered in Apollo's ear. He clearly wasn't expecting that. For a split second his arms loosened, and I took that opportunity to duck under him and run out of our room. This time I ran through the palace before heading outside. Apollo let out a growl, causing the hairs on my body to stand on end. My lichen and I were excited. Giggling, I ran outside and swung myself up in a tree. Apollo ran straight past me, and I waited for a few seconds before quietly jumping down and running back inside. Honestly, I was just doing whatever came to me. I had no plan, but I found it was working in my favor, running straight back in my room. I dashed into my cupboard and found the piece of lingerie I was looking for. As fast as I could, I put it on. It was a sexy black one-piece with a plunging neckline that went all the way down to just above my belly button. This novel will be daily updated at the lace detail was stunning. I paired that with a silk robe and took out my hair, running my fingers through it. I heard Apollo's growl outside in the gardens, and Evie's idea formed in my head. I walked out on our balcony. Sure enough, Apollo was standing there, breathing heavily, his lichen clearly sniffing out where I was. Apollo, I called. Like what you see. I smirked. Apollo growled and ran inside. A thrill of excitement rushed through me. I heard him shout. No one on my floor. No one. I positioned myself by the balcony so it was like I was going to jump. Apollo banged the door open, his eyes finding mine and lust filling them quickly. What happened? The king called and find me. I laughed. Come here, little one. Apollo's eyes didn't leave mine. No, I like it here, thinking everyone should see what I'm wearing. I joked. Come here, Apollo said again, his voice deeper. Don't you want to play catch again? Mischief glistened in my eyes. No, I want you here now. Apollo growled. I think I want to play again. I smirked. Don't do it, little one. You've teased me enough today. Apollo growled. The king can't handle some teasing. I gasped. Apollo's eyes narrowed. You're going to be in so much trouble. Whatever. I flipped my hair back. That's it. Apollo lunged for me. And that is how I ended up in this situation. I don't regret it. Not one bit. Chapter 37. Someone should have told me that my mouth would get me into trouble. Oh wait. They did. I just never listened. Apollo wasted no time in picking me up and throwing me on the bed. His eyes trained on me, daring me to move. You look so sexy. But this needs to come off. Take it off now or I'll tear it off myself. Apollo's gaze never left mine. Hearing his serious tone of voice, I decided it was in my best interest to listen to him. Plus, I really did like this piece of lingerie. I sat up and made my way off the bed. But Apollo growled. No, take it off lying down. What? No, I scoffed. You really want to test me now? Little one, don't forget. You still need to be punished for the other day as well as today. Apollo raised his eyebrows. I forgot about that. His face showed no emotion, but that twinkle in his eyes gave it away. He wanted me to defy him. Normally I would, but I crawled back onto the bed and did some weird dance to get the lingerie off. I didn't want to give him the satisfaction of punishing me. Not very sexy, but Apollo's gaze, plus him licking his lips, made me think otherwise. I flung the piece of lingerie at Apollo and obviously he caught it effortlessly. Why do you always have to tease me? Apollo let out a tortured groan. He dropped the lingerie and tore off his jeans and shirt. My eyes went straight to the growing bulge that was still covered, crawled toward me, causing me to hold my breath. Why can't you just let me you like we both want? Let me plunge my cock into you over and over. He looked dangerous. Those eyes and that smirk of his. I was definitely in trouble. He grabbed my ankle and pulled me toward him, making me gasp. Where's the fun in that? I replied, my heart rate increasing dramatically. True. Much more enjoyable to have you defy me. I can't wait to dish out your punishment. Apollo smirked. What punishment? I asked. I didn't even realize when he took off the last piece of clothing until his member plunged into me. Oh shit! I cried out. Apollo was relentless. His were hard and fast. He held both my hands above my head, stir his hair like I wanted. Don't you dare come. Apollo warned. Before I could protest, he flipped me onto my stomach and pulled me up so I was on my hands and knees. I screamed his name over and over again as the most powerful orgasm I had died down. I wasn't even able to catch my breath before 2 fingers penetrated my sensitive core. I lifted my hips as the thrusts continued, pushed my body down and attacked my core again. That tongue of his, along with his fingers, managed to get 5 orgasms out of me. My body was tired, and I knew I'd feel this tomorrow. I can't take any more. I breathed out. I think you can handle one more. Apollo released his grip on my pussy. His head lifted up, and he licked his lips. He crawled toward me, and his hard member plunged into my sensitive folds. Your e's still so tight. Apollo groaned. Move. I managed to get out. He didn't need any more encouragement, although his thrusts weren't as hard as before. It didn't take me long to scream his name. With him not far behind me, his body fell to the side, and he pulled my sweaty and tired body close to him. That was something else. I was still trying to catch my breath. Your body is something I will never get tired of. Apollo kissed my sweaty forehead. I snuggled into his warmth, my body needing the rest. Our moment was ruined by us hearing Miles coming up the stairs. This time I refused to move. He can off. Am staying here with you. I do not care if I sound like a needy bitch. I told Apollo. I won't leave your side. Don't worry, little one. Apollo chuckled, his chest vibrating. Hey, lax me. Moon, I got you. Miles trailed off. Oh no. I'm leaving it out here. Miles yelled. I burst out laughing, hearing Miles. Why am I the one who always has to do this? Miles' complaints faded away. I did say off limits, but he was here, Apollo said. My eyes felt heavy as Apollo tucked a piece of hair behind my ears. Did I tire you out? He sounded smug. Yes, I'm going to be so sore when I wake up. I complained. Are you really complaining? He asked. I shook my head. Those orgasms he gave me were unlike anything I had ever experienced. Of course I wasn't going to complain. Don't get too cocky. I yawned. Too late. I can't wait to tell the guys how many orgasms I gave you. Apollo smirked. As if you expect me to believe that. You're too possessive to do that. I scoffed. Me, on the other hand, I'll be telling the girls how I felt so good. I smirked. You're looking for another punishment. Apollo glared at me. Whatever. I yawned again and closed my eyes. No more talking now. Just hold me, I said. I'll hold you forever. Apollo's grip tightened as I lost my battle to sleep. Chapter 38. I was right. I was so sore when I woke up. Apollo held me close to him as he slept. My hand itched to touch his face, but he looked so peaceful sleeping. Apollo stirred and his hazel eyes connected with mine. I could feel your little one. He yawned. Oops. My bad. I smiled sheepishly. Yes. It is your bad. I think you need to be punished. Apollo suddenly seemed more awake. Oh no. I am way too sore. I need a nice hot bath. You'll have to deal with that by yourself. I stood up and pointed to his growing budge. I picked up Apollo's shirt and slipped it on as I made my way to the bathroom you love to torture me. Apollo groaned. I smirked to myself before turning to face Apollo. You want to join me in the bath? Apollo sat up and nodded. Too bad. Bath time is my time alone. I shrugged and shut the bathroom door. Apollo growled. I'll get you for that teasing. I giggled as I filled up the bath with hot water and put in bath salts. I took off Apollo's shirt and let my sore muscles sink into the warmth of the bath. OIGIUWV. I cowled and helped the moan that left my lips as my sore muscles relaxed. The door banged open and Apollo stormed in. What the I gasped. Apollo's hungry gaze traveled up and down my body, causing a familiar sensation to travel down my body. One look and he has me ready for him. I thought you were pleasuring yourself. Apollo finally tore his gaze from my body and looked me in the eye so. I was. But so what if I was? I asked. Nothing. I wanted to see. Apollo smirked. I rolled my eyes. I know that look in your eyes. Leave me and my sore body alone. You're saying one thing, but your eyes are telling me something else. I bet me seeing you pleasure yourself is turning you on right now. Apollo's gaze was locked onto mine. Don't even think about it. I warned. It took every ounce of my strength to turn him away, but my body was so sore. Plus I wanted to enjoy my bath. Fine. I'll just join you in the bath. Apollo stepped into the water and sank into the bath before I could stop him. He sank into the water behind me and pulled my body to him. Apollo, I warned. I won't initiate anything, little one. But if you start something, then I'll happily comply, he said with a teasing smile. Before I could reply, his hands started massaging my shoulders, causing me to groan. Damn, that felt good. I knew what he was trying to do, work me up so much that I begged for him. My traitorous body was almost willing to give in, but I stopped myself as Apollo continued to massage my shoulders. My resolve weakened bit by bit until I couldn't handle it. You did that on purpose. I accused him. Maybe, but you initiated it. He kissed my head. Apollo helped me stand as he drained the water out of the bath and turned on the shower. This time he stayed true to his word, washing my hair and body. I couldn't deny it felt so good. Of course I happily returned the favor, and once we were both showered, we decided to get out. After getting dressed, we headed downstairs, hand in hand. My stomach was demanding food, so we made our way to the kitchen. Hey guys, Olivia said, sipping her tea. And coffee. My one true love. I took a big sip out of a fresh cup, while Apollo growled behind me. Possessive lichen. I just rolled my eyes and continued to sip my coffee. Long night. Olivia teased. You have no idea. I winked. No talk of what happens in the bedroom and the kitchen. Miles entered Drama Queen. I muttered under my breath, nah. Soon everyone but Beckett joined us in the kitchen. We all chatted as we ate pancakes and laughed. Olivia didn't eat anything but sipped her tea, which was strange because she loved her coffee. For the first time no one was stressed, and it felt amazing. Beckett made his presence known with a solemn look on his face. Olivia stood up and nodded at Beckett. Hey guys, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. He sighed. So just don't say it. Miles said, I wish I didn't have to. Beckett shook his head. The happy mood vanished, and Apollo stood up, a serious look on his face. What is it? He asked. All of a sudden Beckett smiled. Olivia's pregnant. What? I exclaimed. Congrats, brother. Apollo hugged Beckett. That's why you only had tea. It suddenly dawned on me. Olivia laughed. Yep, I've known for a few weeks. But with everything going on, it just didn't seem like a good time to tell everyone. So instead you make Beckett come in here and scare the shit out of us. Miles shook his head. I had no idea he was going to do that. Olivia laughed. A baby? I can't wait. I hugged Olivia. Babies just cry and poop everywhere. Miles rolled his eyes. Just like you then, Miles. Damien joked. Poor Luna. If she ever wants kids, then she'll have you to deal with too. Apollo shook his head. Please. It'll just threaten him with no sex. And he'll change. Luna smirked. Everyone burst out laughing, while Miles pouted. Why does everyone always gang up on me? Because you have the best reactions. I laughed. Whatever. Moving on. Do you guys want a girl or a boy? Miles asked Olivia and Beckett. I haven't thought about it. Olivia shrugged. Girl, devil witch. Beckett said. You want a girl. Olivia looked shocked. Yeah, of course I do. Beckett replied. I want a boy first. Miles said. I always wanted to have a boy first. Luna agreed. Be careful. You may end up with twins. Beckett warned. Oh, even better. Lou laughed, seeing Miles' face pale. What about you two? Olivia asked me and Apollo. Oh, I haven't really thought, girl. Apollo butted in. I want all girls. He said. All girls. I asked. Yes, all girls. He nodded. You'll have your hands full when they start dating. Miles laughed. Apollo growled. Don't. My bad. Miles put his hands up. Will you find out the gender? I asked Olivia. Duh, of course. I am way too impatient to wait the full 9 months. She replied. Next stage of your lives. Parenthood. Luna said. Yep, I can't wait. Beckett smiled, pulling Olivia closer to him. Apollo looked at me with a smile and said, Me neither. You'll have to wait a long time. I'm not ready to be a mom right now. I laughed. I know. And that's fine. We have time. No rush. Apollo replied. So what happens now? Miles asked. Now we enjoy ourselves with no worries. Oh, and continue our duties, Apollo answered. Miles rolled his eyes. Can't we just quit? You can, but I never will. Now that I have my queen, I can deal with anything. Apollo smiled. I wrapped my arms around Apollo's waist and snuggled into his chest. Now our forever begins. Chapter 39. Damien Gray is nothing like his brother Apollo, wanting nothing to do with his royal lineage. But when Queen Laxmi calls on him, he has no choice. Little did he know that he would meet Helody, his true mate and the love of his life. But Sheff's been tricked into thinking she already as a mate can they overcome the deceit. Or will they be forced into a loveless life? Damie and Amian. A familiar voice called, breaking me out of my thoughts. I replied, looking up. Are you okay? They asked. I smiled. Of course, why? Because you have that look on your face. This novel will be daily updated and it's the same as your brother's. Laxmi pointed out. Laxmi Gray, as she was now known, or the Queen, my brother's beloved mate, my new sister-in-law. But that sounded lame, she was my sister. Cat, why are you so observant? I sighed. Laxmi just shrugged and sat down next to me. It comes with living with your brother. He used to keep a lot of things to himself. Yeah, I don't blame him. I mumbled. Laxmi just laughed. Are you going to tell me what is bothering you so much? I don't want to be here. I miss my old life in England. I admitted. I don't want to be here. I miss my old life in England. I admitted. Something about Laxmi made me want to tell her. So, what's stopping you? You know Apollo will never stop you from leaving if you really want to go. Laxmi told me. I know he won't. But there is something that's stopping me. I don't know if it's my duty to my brother or something else. I groaned in frustration. Maybe you've missed family love. Even if you won't admit it to yourself. Or maybe it's because your mate is close by. Laxmi winked at the end. I scoffed. Funny one. Laxmi just shook her head and stood up. This novel will be daily updated at it, right? Duty calls. Damien, I want you to remember that you're not alone. I smiled. I know. Thanks, Laxmi. I watched as she left me alone with my thoughts. Laxmi might not realize it, but she has this aura about her. A powerful one. She was definitely a force to be reckoned with, and I loved the way she showed my brother his place. Seeing Apollo happy after all this time was amazing. I am extremely happy for him, but a part of me is jealous. Now both my siblings were happy with their mates, but not me. Again, I felt like the odd one out of my siblings. It had only been for months since I came back here, and oh, how much my life had changed. I still remember getting that call that changed everything. For months ago, it was just a normal day for me at the office. Being a detective had its perks. One was that I could use my licenses, which proved to be a major help. Another was I had a lot more freedom. For once, I felt wanted and appreciated. I was sitting at my desk doing the less glamorous side of my job. Paperwork. It was boring, but it had to be done. Just as I was almost finished, one of the men came and called out my name. Phone call for you. Detective. Me, who is it? I asked. Confused. All the main people had my cell phone number. She said she knows your brother. He looked at me. Someone who knows Apollo is it Riley, but she would just say she is my sister. My mind was blank when it came to who it could be, but nevertheless, I nodded to the guy. He held up 3 fingers, indicating it was line 3. Taking a deep breath, I pressed 3 and held the phone up to my ear. Detective Grace peeking. Who is this? I asked. Is this Damien Gray? A female questioned. Yes, may I ask who is calling? My confusion increased. I heard her breath a sigh of relief. Oh, thank God. I thought I had dialed the wrong number. How embarrassing. Oh wait. Sorry, my name is Laxmi, and am your brother's mate. She replied. Holy, my brother has a mate. S0. About damn time too. I didn't keep up with the affairs of royals, but I did keep up with my brother. A habit I could never break. My brother's mate. I was still in a daze. Laxmi laughed nervously. Yep, that's me. Look, he doesn't know I'm calling, but Apollo could really use your support right now. I know it's a lot to ask over the phone, but please come back. At least for a few weeks. Well, that was a shock. Hearing the war why in Laxmi's voice tugged at me. She clearly cared for Apollo a lot. I sighed. I don't know, please. He really needs you. There are some nasty people who would love to see your brother's head on a stake. Laxmi sounded upset. I growled. Council members always been slimy. Okay, fine. I'll come. I gave in. Laxmi sighed. Thank you. I can't wait to meet you. A small smile made its way onto my face. This novel will be daily updated, and I guess a visit is overdue if Apollo has found his mate. We said our goodbyes and hung up. I massaged my aching head. Only 11 a.m., and I already have a headache. I made my way to my boss' office, who was also doing paperwork. After all the years of working here, I had never taken a day off. Work kept me busy, and recently I needed the distraction as the emptiness in my heart grew bigger. So my boss was surprised when I asked when I off, and even more shocked when I said I was sure when it'd return. I explained it was a family emergency and as much time off as I needed. I took the rest of the day off and drove back to my house. London had been my home for so many years now. I had almost forgotten about my hometown, but the palace was the kind of place that if you tried to forget it, you would fail. I wasted no time in booking a ticket and proceeded to pack a bag. This felt so weird to be going back after so long. Apollo, my big brother, my role model, mated me, and that was all I had to hear. Laxmi sounded so upset that it hurt me. I guess now she is family too, and I am a firm believer in family is everything. Only 5 hours after getting the phone call. I was at the airport waiting for my flight to board. As I looked around, I noticed no one really paid attention to me, just how I looked. But as soon as I would land back in my hometown, everyone would know who I was. Everyone would want to know where I was. And I hated that. I hated that being a royal meant no privacy whatsoever. It was one of the things Riley and I actually agreed on. When she left with her mate, she made it clear to both me and Apollo that this was what she wanted. Riley craved the normal life, and Apollo knew this. He never stopped her, even though it hurt him. He never stopped me when I decided to leave. Apollo knew we weren't happy, so he let us go and live our lives. But now it was time to go back. For Apollo, my brother, the 7, our flight went by too quickly. Stepping off the plane, I let out a sigh and went through to collect my bags. As suspected, it didn't take long for eyes to zone in on me. People's stares fixated on my every movement. The word would soon spread that I was back. I hated that. I hadn't told Laxmi anything about when I was planning on coming, which was the idea. The last thing I wanted was one of the guards standing there to greet me. Instead, I caught a taxi. The taxi driver kept looking in his mirror and I sighed. "Is something the matter?" I asked. "Sorry, sir, it's just that you look awfully familiar." He apologized. "Just drive." I sighed. "Palace, but some distance away." Honestly, I was a little shocked that I still knew my way around. Even though I wanted to forget, it seemed like I wasn't able to. Home is home after all. Once we stopped, I paid the taxi driver and walked toward the palace. This novel will be daily updated as it came into view. I let out a breath that I hadn't even realized I was holding. A guard spotted me, and his mouth dropped open. "Your Majesty, welcome back." He quickly opened the gates and ushered me in. It didn't take long for other guards and servants to rush up, all greeting me and asking if I wanted anything. "Your Majesty, finally you have returned." One of the elder servants smiled. I bit my tongue and just nodded. Royal title. I hated it. "Damien," my sister's familiar voice called. "Riley." I walked toward her. "What are you doing here?" she asked. "Same thing as you in guessing." I looked at the little boy in her arms. "Damien, meet William, your nephew." Riley handed me the little boy, who squealed with delight. "You had a kid, and you told no one?" I asked in disbelief. Riley just shrugged. "I was living my life. Plus, if I told this stupid family I was pregnant, then you know what would have happened." I looked down at little William, who seemed fascinated with the palace. Who could blame him? It seems more breathtaking now. "Laxmi called you then?" I changed the subject. "Yes, she said Apollo really needed the support of his siblings." Riley sighed. "And you agreed?" I was shocked. "Don't look so surprised." "Damien, I could ask you the same question." Riley huffed. "I came because I could sense the truth in her voice. Plus Apollo is still our brother." I replied. "I came because something in the back of my mind kept bugging me. This novel will be daily updated at maybe it was Laxmi, or maybe it was the fact that Apollo needed us." Riley admitted. I gave William back to her and said, "Now we've said our hellos. Let us pay the main man himself a visit." Riley nodded and we both made our way to Apollo. It was hard to find him since his study was the same one that Dad had used. Plus, his scent was incredibly powerful. He sensed us before we could walk in because those hazel eyes were already locked on mine as soon as I entered the room. His eyes flickered with disbelief, happiness, and sadness. My gaze locked onto the one who had called me here. It was clear she was Apollo's mate. Her presence was so strong. Laxmi had this natural dominance about her. My Lycan was pleased that Apollo had such a strong mate. I couldn't help but admire the one who stole my brother's heart. She was breathtaking. I couldn't deny that. Her eyes flickered to her mate. She smiled. Wow, her smile. It could light up a whole room. Apollo looked at me in disbelief. Well, there is no turning back now. I was here and I intended to help my brother in whatever way he needed. Chapter 40 Present Day. Damie, and it had been for months since the day arrived. For months. I could have gone straight back to London as soon as everything was solved. But I just couldn't. Every time I went to book a flight, something stopped me. It was only yesterday I rang my boss and told him that I would send him an email with my resignation letter. He was shocked but understood. Of course, he was under the impression that my father was dying, but that didn't matter. Riley left as soon as the drama was over. Apollo was sad to see our younger sister leave, but he knew she didn't want to stay. Laxmi, my new sister. Half the time, I wondered why she had called me. She was incredibly strong and brave and could have handled all this on her own. She more or less did that anyway. Groaning, I got up and made my way to Apollo's study. 11 VUV. Your Majesty. Do you need anything? A maid asked. I still hated my stupid title, but there was nothing I could do about it. This novel will be daily updated. I just shook my head and rushed to my brother's study. You need to have a kid, I blurted out as soon as I walked in. Apollo looked up and chuckled. I know why I am desperate to have a child. But do you want to be an uncle that badly? Riley has a kid. You know, don't play dumb. You know I can never renounce my royal title until you have a kid. I sighed. Oh yes, you're still second in line. Apollo signed a document and placed it to the side. Wait, you said you want a kid. Why don't you have one? I asked. In case you haven't noticed, I don't have the human biology to carry a child. Apollo deadpanned. I know that. I rolled my eyes. Laxmi isn't ready for a child. She's enjoying her life and I won't tie her down. Apollo replied. You've turned into a softie. I laughed. Wait till you find your mate. Damien. Apollo pointed out. Yeah, wonder when that will be. I trailed off. Don't give up. Look at me. Laxmi came into my life when I needed her the most. I know your mate will too. Apollo smiled. I wanted to believe my brother, but I was having a hard time doing so. Hey, we have a pack coming here tomorrow. They are having some territory issues. I want you to be with me, Apollo said. I nodded. I knew my brother was doing this to keep my mind off leaving, and I decided to humor him. After all, after all, I couldn't imagine how he had felt when all his family just up and left when he became king. I guess I felt like I owed him. They'll be arriving early in the morning. Be up and ready by 9. Apollo told me, sake, why can't these alphas come at a decent time? I just nodded and headed to my room. I'm going to need sleep if I have to deal with big-headed alphas tomorrow. As soon as my alarm went off, I groaned and hit snooze. Dealing with big-headed alphas was not how I wanted to spend my day, but I had no choice. Rolling out of bed, I got ready for the day. There was no need to spend too much time choosing an outfit. Not like I did anyway. I quickly put on a pair of dark jeans and a plain white t-shirt. After fixing my hair, I left my room. Apollo and Laxmi were walking downstairs from their floor when they spotted me. Of course, Apollo looked every inch the king he was in Laxmi. The simplicity of her outfit did nothing to diminish that powerful aura surrounding her. Morning. Sunshine. Laxmi smiled. Humped it cheerful for me. I replied. Apollo laughed. Come on, brother. It should be fun. Putting these big-headed alphas in their place. Sure, if that's how you want to spend your morning. His novel will be daily updated and I'd much rather be in bed. I rolled my eyes. We made our way downstairs. Laxmi in the middle with Apollo and I on either side of her. Even though Laxmi was more than capable of defending herself, I still felt an overwhelming need to protect her. So did my Lycan. Your Majesty. They're here. A maid informed us. Apollo nodded. You know where to bring them. Make sure they go through the security checks. Laxmi reminded the maid. The maid nodded and walked off. We made our way to a separate room where Apollo liked to conduct meetings. He was the opposite of Dad in that respect. Dad only had meetings in his study, whereas Apollo liked a room with a lot more space. I remember him telling me that he wanted the alphas to feel like they could say anything, and the study was always so suffocating. I had to agree. We all took our seats. Apollo and Laxmi were sitting on their own sofa, while I sat on the armchair next to Apollo. Oh, how badly I wanted this meeting to be over, and it hadn't even started. A servant came in. "Your Majesties, Alpha Gibson and Beta Porter." We all stood as the Alpha and Beta walked in. Both bowed in respect before taking a seat opposite us. "So you need to discuss some territory issues. Am I correct?" Apollo asked, wasting no time in starting. He was always so busy, but at least he had Laxmi to keep him company. "Yes, Your Majesty. We have an issue with a pack continuously entering what we believe is our territory. They are causing lots of disturbance and threatening to kill us," the Alpha stated. "And how do you know this is your territory?" Apollo questioned. Well, it is actually unclaimed land. However, as it is closer to our pack's land, it makes more sense that it is ours." But Bait and How chipped in. Laxmi now made her presence known. "But it is possible that it could also be the other pack's land. And the reason they are say'll kill you is because they believe it is their land just as you believe it is yours." "Yes, but it is closer to our land," the Beta said, making the same argument go in. Apollo looked at the Alpha and Beta before saying, "Do you have any proof? Any plans for the land? Any measurements?" Both the Alpha and Beta shook their heads. "That's what I suspected. I cannot and will not proclaim the land as yours until I am sure. As such, I will send my brother to inspect, and whatever he proclaims will be final. As much as I see the issue, it is not urgent enough for me to deal with it personally, but do not think that we do not care. Damien will go with you today to deal with the issue," Apollo said. "What, me?" I glared at Apollo, who didn't seem to care. "Of course not. I should have gone back to London when I had the chance." "Thank you, Your Majesty. We appreciate it greatly," the Alpha replied. "My brother will pack a bag and come immediately." Apollo looked at me. "Great, this is why I hate being a royal. All the duties expected of you drove me insane. Nothing I could do about it now." My brother had clearly made his decision. I stood up and nodded. "It'll be down shortly. Until then, you are welcome to wait in the other room. Guards will escort you there." Apollo motioned for the guards. I glared at my brother as I left. It didn't take long for me to pack a bag. Obviously, I had no plans on staying any longer than I needed to. Apollo was waiting by the stairs and pulled me aside. "I know you're angry, but I think this is a good opportunity for you," Apollo said. "Opportunity for what?" I asked. "To find your mate. I was able to travel to find Laxmi, but you can. This novel will be daily updated as sending you to packs and different locations helps," Apollo stated. "So, the only reason I'm going is because you want me to find my mate?" I questioned. "That and I have more important matters to deal with. You can handle this." Apollo patted me on the back. Since I was leaving, royal guards would accompany me. It was like I needed the protection, but it was protocol. Apollo may have changed a lot of things since he took over, but one thing I knew he would never budge on was security. The Alpha and Beta were already in their car. "We can't thank you enough for coming back with us." "Your Majesty," the Alpha said. I just nodded and slipped into my car, which was behind theirs. The royal flag was waving in the wind. I refused to let anyone else drive. I wanted the space. The guards had their car behind mine. The address had already been plugged into my car's sat-nav. Only 2 hours away. Not bad. When we set off, I couldn't help but let my mind wonder. What if I really do find my mate? She would come back to the palace with me, but would she come back to London with me? Do I want to go back to the place that had been my home for so long? The hole in my heart was getting bigger each day. Thankfully, I was like Apollo. My lichen was fine. For now, I knew that in a few years, I might be in the same boat as Apollo. After all, our lichens crave the mate bond just as much as we do. Maybe Apollo was onto something. All this traveling should help me find my mate. Even thinking about that got my lichen excited. The drive was over too soon, and as I pulled into the pack, I saw the crowd. It was clear they had been informed I was arriving. People stood there, excited and probably wanting to catch a glimpse of me. It wasn't often that a member of the royal family visited. After turning off the engine, I sighed. The guards were already by the car as I got out. I wanted to tell them to back off, but I couldn't be bothered. They would surround me. This way, Your Majesty. The alphabet and me over PV. I smiled at people who were waving the royal flag and made my way inside the pack house. I was taken straight up to the Alpha's office. From here you can see the other pack as well as the unclaimed land, he said. I went over and looked out the window. Sure enough, in the distance was the other pack house. There were werewolves stationed up to the agreed line, but there was a section of land where there were no wolves. This was the unclaimed land. From here, it looked like it was closer to this pack's land. However, I cowed and rushed to judgment as much as I would have liked to. It would reflect badly on Apollo. Damn, I would have to go to the other pack's land and see from there. Arrange a meeting. I need to go over there, I stated. I don't think you will talk to me. The Alpha sighed. Fine. Ring his number. I picked up the phone while the Alpha dialed the number. It only took 2 rings before someone answered. I told you before. Do not call me. You are pathetic. Trying to claim the land as yours. A voice scoffed. Well, well. That is certainly a greeting to remember. This novel will be daily updated, however. I think you'll find that I am not the Alpha and I do not appreciate being spoken to in that manner. I harshly replied. Do I use my royal title? The one I so despise. Or should I leave this pathetic bastard hanging and let him see for himself when I arrive? Yes, the prince. The Alpha coughed. Your Majesty, please forgive me. The voice stuttered. I guess that saved me from saying it. I will be at your pack in 20 minutes. I gave this arrogant bastard no room for argument. Of course. We look forward to your arrival, he said. His tone of voice changed. My response was cut off by a woman's voice in the background. It was weak, but I heard it. Please don't. At the sound of her voice, it suddenly felt like my whole life had turned. At the sound of her voice, this novel will be daily updated and it suddenly felt like my whole life had turned upside down. My red water ran cold and my lichen threatened to take over. What is happening to me? Chapter 41 2 years ago. One thing I had always wanted to be was a teacher. I adored kids. And being a teacher was my ultimate life goal. Growing up, my parents never discouraged that idea but pushed me to work toward my dreams. My mom was a dentist and my dad worked at an accounting firm. My younger brother and I always had an amazing childhood. Our parents loved us, and we loved them. I remember when I turned 17, my mom sat me down and had a serious conversation with me about wolves. We lived with werewolves, they went to our schools, ate at the same restaurants. Most of the time, they just seemed like regular human beings, but I knew they were not. The topic of werewolves was something that always fascinated me, and I used to read so many books about them. It was in one of these books that I came across lichens. Lichens weren't talked about as much because they were considered to be royalty. The king himself was a lichen. This novel will be daily updated and it was very rare for a human to meet a lichen. The king dealt with humans who were in positions of high power to ensure everything was running smoothly. Despite all of that, I knew that lots of humans were dying for a chance to meet a lichen. I was one of them. In all honesty, lichens entranced me more than werewolves. The topic of mates would always make me swoon. To me, it sounded like a fairy tale. And what girl didn't like fairy tales? Mom warned me that if a werewolf or lichen claimed me as their mate, you did not disagree. In my head, I never would have imagined that. Being a mate to a lichen was something I often dreamed about. I remembered the day. It was just a regular day. My little brother was playing with his friends. Mom was cooking, and Dad was chatting to Mom to keep her company. I was watching TV when Mom asked me to call my little brother in. I opened the door to shout for my brother, but words never left my mouth as a pack of werewolves walked past our row of houses. One werewolf was already looking at me, and he said something to his other pack members, causing them to stop and look at me too. He claimed me as his mate. Mom and Dad came out but didn't say anything. My neighbors and school friends all stood outside and watched. They looked as he took me away from my family. They looked as I cried because I wanted to say good. By God, he didn't let me. This novel will be daily updated at, and they looked as my parents cried out for me. But all in vain. Present day Elodie, where are you? Am hungry. The familiar voice growled. Sighing, I turned to the little wolf who I was teaching. Go now. I'll call you later. I watched as he scurried off with his books and pencils, and I left to find my mate. 2 years ago, I believed mates were the best thing, that it would be like a fairy tale. That was the mind of a naive teenager. What would you like to eat? I made my presence known. Finally, where were you? I want an egg and bacon sandwich. My mate, Jordan, said, you'll get right on that. I prayed he wouldn't ask me that question again. He grabbed my hand. Where were you? You better not be teaching those pups again. You know I hate it. I swallowed the lump in my throat. No, I wasn't. My ability to lie had gotten better, but my heart still raced every time Jordan glared at me. Thankfully, he let my hand go, and I rushed into the kitchen to make his sandwich. I always thought a mate's touch was meant to send shivers down your spine, to evoke powerful emotions. I never got that with Jordan. Never. From the first time he touched me to now. All I got was fear. The first time I asked him why I didn't get those sparks, he told me harshly, you're a human. You don't feel what we feel. I never asked him again because I call. After all, I am just a human and he is a werewolf. Recently, a bigger part of me was refusing to believe all the excuses Jordan had told me in the past. But I was still too scared to leave or attempt to leave. Sighing, I focused on making the sandwich before he got angry. Another female entered the kitchen, but she didn't even look at me. No one did. I had no friends, no family. I was completely isolated. That's why teaching those kids was the only thing I looked forward to. Children never judged me, instead they were eager to learn, and I was eager for the distraction. Once I was finished, I left the kitchen with Jordan's sandwich. This novel will be daily updated since he wasn't where he was before. I headed upstairs to the Alpha's study. More often than not, he was there, and today was no different. He stood outside and grabbed the sandwich from my hands. It was gone in less than a minute. Elodie, a little voice called. My head whipped around as fear settled in me. The little boy I was teaching before rushed toward me. Jordan instant, I knew then that I was screwed. Can you teach me more? His little voice asked. Pup, go back to your parents. Now, Jordan growled. The poor boy whimpered and rushed off. So you lied to me? Jordan asked. There was no use lying. I was already going to be punished for this. Jordan pulled my hair, causing me to cry out in pain. Someone needs to learn their place. Thankfully, I used paper plates for meals. I learnt the hard way when I used glass plates. The scars on my arms can account for that. He pushed me against the wall. I winced as my sore back hit the wall at full force. I hate when my mate disobeys me. It makes me look weak. Do you want me to look weak? He yelled. I shook my head, even though I wanted to shout yes. Jordan's free hand slapped me, and I whimpered. His other hand still held me up by my hair. I didn't know how long it was that Jordan kept slapping me around the face. He said it would knock some sense into me. When he finally stopped and let go, I dropped to the floor. My scalp burned and my face hurt. I looked up and pleaded, please, please don't. Jordan stood there looking pleased. Of course he did. All he wanted was to show everyone how strong he was. My feelings did not matter to him. They never had. The Alpha stormed out of his study, glaring at Jordan. What the hell are you doing? Royalty is here, and I could hear her from my study. Are you insane? Jordan didn't seem fazed, but turned to me with a cold look in his eye. Go to our room and stay there. You do not come out till I come in. Understand? I nodded and managed to stand up before rushing away. Jordan and the Alpha were speaking in hushed breaths. This novel will be daily updated at, but I just wanted to get to my room. As soon as I entered, I shut and locked the door. I walked to the bathroom and looked in the mirror. My face was red and hurt as I touched it. Sighing, I went about my usual routine and applied balm to my cheeks before massaging my scalp. I collapsed on the bed and buried my face into the pillow. Tears fell as I cried for my lost teenage years. My family who I hadn't contacted or seen since I was forced to leave. My freedom. And my dreams. My only hope was that someone would come and rescue me. I guess I still believe in fairy tales. Just not the happily ever after part. But the Alpha said there was a royal in this house. Is there any chance that HES my prince child? Chapter 40 to Damien. I knew something was up when I entered this pack's land. My lichen was on edge, which made me on edge. That voice. I cowled and get over that voice I heard. As soon as that Alpha hung up, I threw the phone across the room and clutched the edge of the desk. It took everything to calm down and not lose control. I never had any issues with my lichen before this. A part of me wanted to ask Apollo, but I decided against it. He was busy, and I was a grown man. I could deal with this, once I was sure that my lichen was under control. I turned to the Alpha. Sorry about your phone. Don't apologize. He gets on every onus nerves. The Alpha shook his head. I nodded. Let's go. I was going to try and persuade my guards to stay here, but I knew better. This novel will be daily updated and they wouldn't leave me, and something in my head told me to take them along. It didn't take long for us to get ready and leave. I took this opportunity to walk across the unclaimed land. To me, it still seemed as though it was closer to this pack, but I still wanted to go to the other pack. Luckily, no one said anything as we entered the other pack's territory. People bowed to me as I walked past. Normally, I would have scowled because I hate it when people do that, but this time my mind was distracted. I found myself looking up at a single window. My heart ached and I was clueless as to why. Tearing my gaze away from that single window proved to be more difficult than I anticipated, but I forced myself to look away. My gaze connected with a man standing outside, who I presumed to be the Alpha. Already, my lichen was on edge. Something about this man didn't sit right with me or my lichen. His smirk, the arrogant look, and the way he looked at me, like he was afraid. My gaze focused on the Alpha, who immediately stood up straighter and cleared his throat before addressing me. Your Majesty, it is an honor to have you here, he said. Yes, I assume the way you hung up the phone meant you were nervous. I glared. He coughed, clearly caught by surprise. This is my beta, Jordan. Clever. He had changed the topic. Again, I found myself looking at this bastard, who made me angry for an unknown reason. So an issue of unclaimed land has brought royalty to our pack? Jordan asked. The violence that has come with the issue of the unclaimed land is the main reason I am here. Solving the issue will stop the violence, or so the king thinks. I replied. So, the king sends his runaway brother and doesn't come himself. Interesting. This novel will be daily updated at Jordan had no shame. His pack members tensed, and his own Alpha elbowed him, but he seemed not to care. You will do well to remember who I am, pup. I might have run, but I am here now, and I am still the prince. Show me respect or MVLV can will force it out of you. I grit my teeth together. My security tense beside me, ready to eliminate the threat. He needs no harm. Please come inside. The Alpha tried to diffuse the tension, invited us in. We gathered round what I assumed was their pack communal area. I want to say that this issue could have been resolved peacefully, without involving the royals. The Alpha stated. Behind me, the other Alphas coughed. Please, spare me the rubbish. We have tried. You have responded with violence. I found my gaze on the alpha, who kept looking left and right as if he was afraid of something. Jordan looked calm and collected, but his alpha's eyes led me to believe that something sketchy was going on here. My mind shifted to that voice I heard on the phone. The cries and pleas made my red water boil as realization set in. Someone was being abused in this pack. My tolerance for abuse was zero. There was no excuse. Working as a detective back in England, I saw my fair share of murders due to sexual or physical abuse, suicides because of verbal abuse. Any sort of abuse in my book was a big fat no. Not just me, Apollo had no tolerance for it either. Neither would Laxmi, and something told me that she would have guessed the same thing as I did if she were here. It seemed like not everyone realized how obvious certain gestures were. It's one alpha's words against another's. How do I figure out who is being truthful? I directed my question to the alpha, who looked terrified. I don't know. He stuttered. You see, one thing that me and my brother have in common is we can sense when someone is lying to us. I sighed. The alpha tensed. Something else is going on here, and I will figure it out. Don't pretend like you don't know what I heard at the end of our phone call. This time my gaze focused on Jordan, who tensed. Bingo. I have my answer. The alpha cleared his throat before answering. I have no idea what you are talking about. This time, my lichen threatened to rise and show this alpha who he was lying to. But I kept my cool. I stalked toward him, glaring down at him. I hate liars. He swallowed a lump in his throat before his bait butted in. Look, you can't be intimidating my alpha. Jordan, is it? What I heard at the end of the phone call suddenly had you tense too. This novel will be daily updated. I wonder what secrets are hiding in this pack. Let me make this crystal clear. I will not leave here until I figure it out. My gaze locked on to Jordan S. You don't scare me. He scoffed. I turned my attention back to the alpha. Anything you want to tell me? Again. He shook his head. I hate liars. I yelled in his face, causing him to close his eyes. Pathetic. If you were going to lie to me, then at least tack strong. It was then that I heard it. It was faint, but my ears immediately picked up on it. A faint whimper. My gaze shot up and looked around at a sight until I saw a blur of hair run out of sight. Jordan's growl broke out as he clenched his fists in anger. Suddenly, it was like I was moving on autopilot. I held and stopped my legs from running up the stairs after that blur. No comeback. This is trespassing. Jordan yelled after me, growling. I turned around. Enough was enough. Don't you dare let him go, I said to my guards, who immediately took a hold of both the alpha and beta. My voice became lower as my lichen lost some control. Everyone stood there silent, watching me. Jordan yelled and thrashed around. It only fueled my suspicions more. Your Majesty, please let one of us come with you. The other alpha suggested no. Stay here, I instructed as I rushed off to find that blur. My lichen knew exactly where to go. It was like he had been here before. I know for a fact we hadn't. I came to a stop outside a door. My hand went up to knock, but I decided against it. My heart was racing. I needed to know who that blur was, and I needed to know now, without wasting another second. I pushed open the door with a little more force than I expected. It swung open, and that same whimper made my red water run cold. No, please, Jordan. I'm sorry. Please don't hurt me. My legs collapsed as I fell to my knees. The beautiful jade, colored eyes stared up at me, sparkling with tears. Please don't hurt me, she whispered. Never, I said, my lichen going wild with the need to comfort and protect this woman. The magnetic force I could feel pulling me toward her couldn't be denied. You're my mate, I whispered, and my world crashed around me.